Howdy, my name's Anachi Sase, and welcome back to Hiveswap FriendSim Simulator, or FriendSim, Wiggle. This is going to be the last episode of the series I do, because I decided I'm going to try to do Volume 18 in one go. And then just have the series end at episode 35. Oh, see, here we go, Oh, there's two things! There's Volume 18 of Endings Many, and then Epilogue of Hosts Excellent. Additional content will be released, you say that now, but it says Epilogue here. Okay, so we're going to do Volume 18, and then Epilogue. So then. You crash-landed on a planet called Alternia. You staggered from the wreckage of your ship. You were desperate for information, for provisions, and possibly a bit of medical attention. But most of all, you were desperate for friendship! Is what you could say if you were written by a bunch of hacks who cared about the Aristotelian ideal of narrative unity. Possibly you could make some reference to a circle being complete in a thoughtless and imbecilic manner. I missed something. Double-clicked, I apologize. This really isn't about friendship anymore, is it? You've got enough friends. Now you need answers. You need... Oh, goddammit. This was just the intro screen. So, we got Barzum and Bisley, and we also got Lank Bombix. We're going to go with Lank Bombix first, because I think this may actually be the only guy Jadeblood I've ever seen. And I think I might need to turn that down a little bit. What's next on the docket? You really feel like going off the rails. Or like, you're really feeling like going completely off the rails. So it's a good thing that the first person to pin you on your palm husk is Lanera. That nutty bitch is exactly the sort of destabilizing influence your life needs right now. Hello? My friend! Because that's what we are now. Friends! Cool, that's not a weird way at all to talk to someone. You're really loving this one. You're not sure what it is, but you're positive whatever crackpot caper this loopy troll is about to rope you into is really going to be a real humdinger. There's a sense of finality in the air, you can taste it. Lanera does you the courtesy of listening to you say all that shit without getting super put off by how much of a freak you are. Listen up! So I was thinking, since us becoming friends has worked out so well, I'm starting to think maybe it'd be a good idea to give making more friends another shot after all, I guess? That's what I was thinking, so there's this party I was invited to. You see, the fellow Jades and my folks always sneak out to go to these things. You gently suggest Lanera that she should hurry the fuck up. Okay, so I'm nervous, I want to go, and I want a friend to come with me. Okay? That's so crazy? No, you don't think that's crazy at all. You think that sounds fantastic, actually. You don't ask for any details because who gives a shit. Parties again. You show up on the block, we're not going to talk about how you got there or whatever, because what a waste of time, you're just there. Lanera's met up with you too. Lanera mentioned there might be dancing, so you decided to really dress up for the occasion. Oh man, you went fucking nuts. You're wearing a cape and shit, but also like fishnets? Maybe a sexy bra if that's your thing. Whatever you happen to drudge out of some dumpster or another. Honestly, you can imagine whatever you want here, but you know it's completely bullshit and you look like a total slut? Lanera isn't wearing anything special because we would have had to pay someone to redraw all her sprites. From the look of it, you're heading over to somebody's hive party? You're rolling up on some kind of joint that, from past experience, you can now surmise as an alien domicile. It's pretty big, it maybe belongs to someone on the blue end of the spectrum? Back here again. Is this block just where all the jade-blooded schoolgirls love to get down and dirty? It hits you like a bucket of ice when you realize whose hive you're walking straight towards this time. This is Ardada's hive. Oh, that's just great. Your friend Ardada. Boy, do you love Ardada. Can't wait to see her again. As you approach, you can immediately tell what kind of deal they have going on here. You can hear the tunes bumping all the way down the block, and when you get near enough to see, there are obviously a bunch of teens passed out drunk on the lawn. This is a full-blown frat house rager. Definitely doesn't seem like Lanera sort of thing. That's because it isn't? Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm doing this. You kinda can't either. You're not even in the front door and you can already feel the sweat pouring out of your armpits. This is gonna be so much fun! You pass all the smashed lawn teams and go up and knock on the front door. You have to rap on it a few times until the telltale sound of clicking heels faintly reaches your ears. The door opens and you discover that the gracious hostess standing on the other side is none other than your best friend Ardada. Woohoo! She looks surprised to see you for only a moment before her face resolves into a wicked grin. Oh, I was just, My. Look what the Purbies dragged in. Back for more so soon, my sweet. You're not actually sure how much time has passed since you last ran into Ardada, but it doesn't feel like it can be described in any metric by soon. You've been physically savaged so many times since then, you're not sure what you're blocking out, though. You tell Adana you're really glad to see her because you totally are. You tell her you weren't expecting her to be hosting a party, though. Oh, I don't know if I'd call it a party. More of a friendly kickback of sorts. Sort of exclusive, really. All the world's finest influencers are here. How exactly did you hear about my little shindig? While I certainly consider you to be one of my finest friends, I don't recall inviting you. You gesture vaguely to Lanera. She doesn't seem to know how to lie and immediately cracks under the pressure. One of the other Jades from my question told me to come. His name's Luke but I don't think he's invited either. I get the impression we always kind of come out here. Basically, we're crashing, if that's okay. Well, of course. What's an informal soiree without a few entirely uninvited interlopers? Lanera doesn't seem to know if she's being sarcastic or not, and you aren't sure if she is either, to be honest. You're like, are you fucking with us? And she's like, oh, mwah, or whatever. Of course not. I just have but one question for you, my dears. Or not that. Beckons you near. You obey her slavishly. Then she leans in close to your ear and intones. Do you hereby certify under penalty of law that you are of age to view adult content within your state of legal residence, have acknowledged the contents of this volume's is that supposed to be accompanying mature content description and are comfortable with the prospect of engaging with challenging or otherwise controversial fictional material? Let's go with the oof first. Oh man, the sound of that is making you quake in your slutty little boots. Controversial fictional material, you say? Damn, it's almost starting to sound like a woman wrote this. Count you out. Renata clicks her tongue. She reaches for the cup of markers she keeps on the table next to the door and pulls one out. You flinch back as she wields it like a weapon to draw a big blue X on the back of your hand. Here. Now all of my fine guests will know we've a delicate little angel on our hands. Then she turns to Lanera. And what about you, my sweet thing? Huh? Oh, I'm not real. It's cool. Wait, what? What? Welcome to the bash! Drinks are free, but if you die of poisoning, you're contractually obligated to croak in range of one of my cameras. Toodaloo! Ardata blows you a toxic kiss and saunters off to mingle with her enthusiastic guests. You and Lanera step past the threshold and have a look around. Lanera is visibly nervous, which is unfortunately a little bit infectious. You ask her where her friend is. She glances about a bit. I'm looking forward, sort of, to finding out what happens if I say I'm fine with that. The other thing. Oh, I don't know, Oh, over there! Something about the way these trolls are drawn is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. Oh wait, I can't curse in these. It's uncomfortable as fuck. You follow her gaze into the living sea of the house. Living area, not living sea. It's a far cry from the side outside. The music's not nearly so bumpin' as you originally thought it was. The whole shebang seems to have a pretty chill teenagers drinking Kool-Aid vibe, apart from the fact that that's definitely not Kool-Aid. Everybody's milling about, chatting amicably. You spot a few familiar faces. Diamond, flirting with, roasting his Frank in the hearth. Elward leaned casually against the doorframe to the kitchen and talking to a cute girl. Skyla recounting some enrapturing rodeo caper to a group of gathered trolls. It's a real diverse roster of friendly folks. I see, okay, there's Diamond, and I see, Elward over there doing stuff. I guess this is supposed to be Skyla? Skyla? I've never really figured out how I'm supposed to pronounce that. You saw who Lanera is pointing to at the center of the parlor's arrangement of couches and armchairs sat among a group of friends on the floor, the only other Jade blood in the room. I guess they're not drawn there since they're going to have a sprite. He's even more impeccably dressed and done up than the rest of the markedly fashion-forward Jades you've met. When he catches sight of Lanera, his face lights up and he rises to make his way over and greet you. I have no idea what kind of voice to give this person. Oh, Lanera! You've made it after all. I was starting to think you weren't going to come. Well, surprise! I didn't... not come, I mean... I did come! Hi! I'm here! LOL. You cringe, but, like, seems otherwise unaffected by Lanera's astonishingly embarrassing display. He turns to you with a warm smile. And who's this? You can't help but get a little flustered when your eyes meet. His makeup and silence might lean to the severe and feminine, but he has a contrastingly calming and masculine voice that puts you at ease straight away, okay? So I guess I did that wrong. He seems to have quite the opposite effect on Lanera. Before you can answer yourself, she starts blabbering a mile a minute. Oh, this is my friend. I invited them because they're an alien, and I guess I almost murdered them because I was jealous of their friendship with Bronya. Oh, but I didn't, and we're friends now, and I'm starting to work past my self-destructive obsession with her, and they agreed to come with me because I'm socially anxious and afraid of you. LOL. Oh, that's awfully nice of them. Hold on, sorry. I know that was a lot at once. Let me reorganize that statement into a clear, digestible list of bullet points. You've absolutely no need to do that, Lanera. I've understood your points just fine. I did the same thing with my hand that he was doing and didn't even realize until I looked up at the screen from the words. Oh, okay. Lank looks back at you. Thank you for helping Lanera feel more comfortable here. Why don't you come and sit with us? Lank turns and gestures to the other trolls he was speaking with before, a teal-blooded boy and an indigo-blooded girl, neither of whom you recognize. They both have notebooks in their laps and they give you friendly waves. Are they the people from the other half of the volume? Okay, sounds great. What are we doing? We were just in the middle of a poetry reading. I don't know if you've prepared anything of your own to share, but you might find it relaxing just to listen. Poetry? Lanera's face has gone bright green. Oh boy. Why would you think I've written any poetry? I don't, really? It was merely a suggestion. Have you? Well, maybe? Wait, no! You put a comforting hand on Lanera's shoulder, intuiting immediately that she has indeed written plenty of poetry, but is embarrassed by the prospect of sharing any of it. You remind her she's among trusted friends here and has nothing to fear. Though I guess you're right. Well then, please come and join us. Lank leads you back to his group, inviting you to sit down with them in a circle. Lanera goes to deliberate lengths to insert you between herself and Lank so that you're the one sitting next to him. Why don't we pick up where we left off? I was just about to read my latest piece. You said it sounds great. Lank's two friends close their eyes and take each other's hands. You and Lanera are both plenty surprised when Lank and the indigo blood next to Lanera try to take yours to close the circle. At your obviously shocked expression, Lank explains. We find physical contact helps us feel closer on a spiritual level during our poetry sessions. But if you aren't comfortable with it, you're under no obligation. You feel really respected right now, so you and Lanera both assent to join the circle. She even takes the initiative to hold your hand first. Lank reaches out and takes your fingers gently in his. You don't know what it is, but you can't help yourself from blushing shyly. His hand is soft and warm in yours, short red nails immaculately manicured. Is he one of the Jade Bloods that's actually a vampire? I feel like he might be a vampire. I don't know. He seems far more pleasant right now than his picture suggested it was when he was going to be. Then let me begin. This is a short poem I've written in free verse based on something haunting me as of late. Reflecting back on one of my most complicated and passionate past relationships. Forgive me, this might be a bit raw. It is, as of yet, untitled. Lank draws a deep breath and closes his eyes. His notebook is open in his lap. You can see the poem written there in elegant hand, but he doesn't need to look at it to recite the words. What is the meaning of a memory? A question I oft ponder. Intangible and untraceable by anything but the mind, yet so potent as to leave one sick, as if poisoned or wounded in a literal sense. And what meaning is there in regret and longing? Can my lamentations change the past? Will they move the future? Shall they amount to much more than what unmoors my here and now? If I restrict my world to that but which is before my eyes, to those whom I may touch, to that which I may alter, one would no doubt conclude that the thoughts of you are last among what I would consider to matter. And yet you haunt me still like a scar, like a disease uneager to abate. Who are you? And who am I, after so long without you? I know, I don't know. I won't know. What I do know, but what I know, and what can it even mean to know? No, no, no. Ah, though it so vexes me. Though so little I valued it when it was before me. A thing and a you I could touch and see, and know, and hate and wonder, revile, worship. Now it and you are traceless ghosts, and I preoccupy myself with nothing but futile tasks of redefinition and reinterpretation and circuitous dwellings on that which I understand even less now. Than in the times when my wonderings might have been so easily answered with a question, or a bite, or a kiss, or even a single word spoken honestly. Pressed though I am to give color to our bond, I look not to onyx nor ash, but that which pulses within our very veins, that so blindingly jade, hard as the stone for which it is so named, twisted and pulled, hammered and forged, shaped unnaturally, as if a chain. A stricture within scriptures, a certain so meaningfully tincture. Resent you though I must, envy you though I may. Now leagues and leagues stretch between us, and I make peace with not but what I say. You are only that which is within me, my blood and my mind, and that is at once nothing, and the most elementary definition of everything. You realize you were holding your breath when Lank finally finishes. The circle falls into meaningful silence, taut as a wire. The tension breaks when his eyes flutter open, tears spilling over his long lashes. You squeeze Lank's hand gently. He weeps silently and beautifully. Such powerful art! He musters a wan smile and gazes across the circle at Lanera. Lanera, would you like to read next? Lanera looks stunned. There's moisture gathering in the corner of her eyes. Of course, anyone would be moved by something so emotional and raw. I guess I have a poem I could read. Lanera takes out her planner and opens it, breaking the circle of held hands. She can't recite it from memory like Lank. When she speaks, her voice is small and timid. This one's called Still. I'm still. I sit still. I do what I'm told still. I wonder about the ways that I am, and I think, still? I see her every day and I still miss her. She hugs me and I still feel cold. I'm surrounded by people and I'm still alone. I'm still me. I still love her and I still hate that. Wow! You're really proud of Lanera for opening up like this. She's crying too now. You reach out to take her hand back in yours. The indigo blood beside her comfortingly strokes her shoulder. Sorry? It's not really good and long like yours, Lank. Long? I'm not really a poet or anything. I just wrote down how I feel. Lanera, it's fine. I thought it was beautiful. Poetry is about expressing yourself. It's not important that it be any set length or sound any certain way. All that matters is that you've spoken your blood pusher. And I think you've accomplished that remarkably. We're all very proud of you. You find yourself drawn into a group hug by Lank and the other trolls. Lanera is sobbing openly now, and her raw emotion seems to have inspired similar pathos in the others. Before you know it, you feel yourself tearing up too. It feels good to get it all out, but before long, it's becoming clear Lanera's kind of reaching her limit. She pulls back and sniffles out something about wanting to go home. Of course, Lanera, if that's what you need. I'll talk to you back at the cloister. Okay. See to it that she gets back safe, will you? You tell Lank that of course you will, and take Lanera carefully by the hand to lead her out of the party. She squeezes your fingers back to let you know that she appreciates you. You walk back from the party in a comfortable silence for a while. When you glance over at her face, it occurs to you that you've never seen Lanera this happy. Of course, this is literally the second time you've ever seen her, so you guess you don't actually have much frame of reference for what her normal emotional state actually is. You really want to encourage her on this path of recovery she's going down and all, so you ask her about, her and Lank. What? Her and Lank? We're just friends. I mean, it's not like I have a crush on him or anything. I know I've had romantic feelings for a girl before, so it'd be really problematic if I liked a boy now. Oh, you say, you're sorry you didn't know. Oh, it's okay, just don't let it happen again. Lanera gives a warm smile and reaches out to pull you into a hug. Thank you for helping me. I was really nervous, and I think if it hadn't been for your help, I wouldn't have been able to come at all. But I did, so thanks. It wasn't perfect, but I think I really opened up tonight. I'll see Lank again. And you, I hope. And in the future, things will be easier. Right? You're certain they will. You put a comforting arm around her shoulders and walk her the rest of the way home. You feel like this night really taught you an important lesson. Not everything is about collecting the largest quantity of friends as is humanly possible. Sometimes strengthening your bond with someone you already know can be just as rewarding. So screw you, you say, to the concept of good endings and bad endings and narrative railroading. This route makes you feel heckin' valid, and that's fine by you. Valid! So it looks like that weird thing that our data did is the only choice in this section of the volume. Wait. What? What? Well, fuck me, am I right? I'm over here like, oh, I guess that was the only choice. Do you want to understand? Ah! Yes. Of course you do. Your sort of creature always does. What's happening? What's happening? You're worn out. Last night was, well, it sure was something. You lived, probably. You learned, definitely. You made choices. You had to. And after all this time, here you still are. So after a day of recuperation from ragers and houses of horror... What do you mean houses of horror? You're out walking the streets of the place you may as well start calling home. You change out of your party gear, opting for your old hoodie standby. It fits the mood you're in. You're not really looking to meet anyone new tonight. Well, like, You wouldn't say no, probably, but you're not jonesing for it. Only a little, it's complicated. After an indeterminable amount of minutes of aimless walking, you look around at where you've ended up. You seem to have wandered into a dirt pile. Oh, you know this dirt pile, it's Fozzer's corpse field. How did you get here, you wonder? You're pretty sure you were just on the other side of the city with no particular desire to come anywhere near here. It's probably fine, just your deep, innate bro-honing skills taking over your goddamn body. Just little friendship things. You look around for your pal Fozzer, peeking down into a few of the deeper holes. You might as well say hello since you're here and all. Holy shit, that? Again? Curiosity killed the cat, but you've definitely got more than 9 lives, so you shrug and slide, not gracefully, down into the shiny hole. What? Fozzer is nowhere to be found, but there is a window down here. It's almost completely unearthed and doesn't take much effort to free it the rest of the way. At first you think it might be some cool new trash you could make art with, but when you look closer you reconsider. There's a whole ass room you can see through that pane of glass lying at your feet. No! That's weird. Weirdness isn't typically a deterrent for you. But usually there is at least some causational coherence. Doors are in walls surround rooms. You aren't used to finding parlors and ditches. Is there a latch or something? Should you do a polite little knock? There might be friends in there! Damn, we could really go for some friends right now. Is there a protocol for approaching ditch window? Allow me to stop you there. I'm a timeless being of the void, but even my patience has its limits. Fun is fun, but this frivolous navel-gazing is no longer necessary. Come in from behind the shadow of that narrative text. It's so very hard to see your face. You aren't sure where you are, and it's unsurprisingly a little nerve-wracking. You look over your shoulder at the window you guess you just fucking came on through. The Alternian sky is framed by the edge of your dirt hole, and the knot in your stomach loosens a bit. Hopefully that means this is a two-way portal. Wait, so is this the epilogue happening? Does the epilogue just happen when you say you want to understand? What's... You turn to look at your surroundings, and oh! There's someone here! The guy you just heard, you assume. He doesn't look like any of the other aliens you've met. I'm not an alien. Oh, no more than any of us are alien to each other. In fact, nothing is alien to me. The root concept behind that term is alienation, being forced from that which is natural. Nothing is unnatural to me. I look upon all realities as equally inviting and approachable. It's you, my dear, who are out of place. I could see that even if I was not omniscient, which I am. Okay, so, not an alien? With no horns or a caste sign, though he's definitely not a troll. Whoever he is, he seems to be white. Just really white and round, and his outfit is admittedly kind of dope. Looking at him really ramps up your friend thirst. He just got this quality about him that you've got to kind of get with. You take a step toward him almost without thinking about it. My apologies. That compulsion has become extraneous. Let me take care of it for you. He snaps his fingers and your knees buckle. The force of the universe presses down on you like a G-force. You blink and somehow he's there immediately, arms outstretched to catch you as you fall. He steers you to a chair, chaise lounge, and you drape yourself weakly into it. Please, have a seat. The emotional transition might be a tad uncomfortable, but I know you've handled worse. You're quite the soldier. Allow me to be the first to say that I'm very pleased with your work. I knew exactly what you were going to do, of course, and most of your work was, in fact, my work. Regardless, congratulations are in order. What is this guy talking about? Your work? You try to parse what he's saying, but your body's so shaky from whatever he just did to you, and it's hard to think in here. You suddenly, sharply don't feel friendly towards him anymore, or towards anyone. The void left by that feeling is a freshly gaping horror. It's like who you thought you were caved in itself. A black hole of personality eating your body up from the inside. You try to pull your shit together? He seems like he means business. This is no time to lose it, no matter if your sense of self is shattering. When you truly reflect on yourself, you surely can't, with any honesty, claim to believe any of this was by your own making. Crash landing on a hostile alien world, surviving the impact, dragging around a half-broken body and somehow not immediately being eaten by local fauna. Did you learn an alien language just by thinking about it very, very hard? Right. Malik said something about that you were speaking perfect Alternian, and it was kind of weird, but you just kind of accepted it. For no good reason. That's your whole deal. Your friends all accepted your quirks. That's what friends do. You say it to convince yourself as much as to prove it to him. So many trolls, so many fascinating aliens, and all of them wanted to know you. Did you really think you managed that on your own laurels? Were they all drawn to an indefinable something, a je ne sais quoi? Well, yeah. You had this whole emotional arc. You got self-confidence. You grew as a person and helped others to grow. The white text guy doesn't make expressions, but you get the feeling he's looking at you pityingly. I find you sweet. Honestly, I do. I don't intend to cause emotional injury, I'm just telling you the truth. I never lie, you'll find. It isn't like you don't have admirable qualities of your own, of course. You have made quite the valuable vessel for me, and I appreciate that very much. I could not have done it without you. I'm only joking, I absolutely could have done it without you. It's just infinitely more fun to do these things together, is it not? What things? What did he do? What did you do? You hope he didn't do anything that would fuck over all your friends? Though, when you try to think about them now, the bonds you felt before come up all twisted. Without the artificial friendship drive giving you, pushing you forward, you feel you're not even sure what those memories are supposed to feel like. You close your eyes and breathe. You try to remember the way Palipa touched your face after you touched hers, her claws trailing down your cheek, how Tazai slept, trusting as you kept watch. How Tagora gave you a chance when he saw something in you that you didn't even see in yourself. How, not that long ago, you got the chitter handle of an extremely friendly Jade-Blood boy. Those moments are like the memory of warmth to you now. Blurry, cold, and out of reach. Was all that nothing? Your heart is a chasm. Don't worry so much about it. I simply needed some dots connected, some pieces in place for my next move. Choose whichever metaphor suits you. Whichever way you frame it, because of you, everyone will soon be in their right place. Shit, what have you done? Your head starts to spin and you think you might cry, so you pull your hood over your head to block out the harsh green of the room. You try to imagine that it still smells a little like Malik. It doesn't. Doesn't smell like anything, really, but you remember what it smelled like at first and you hold on to that. It was real, you tell yourself. Your friends were real, and what you felt for them and with them was real too. You're so afraid for them, and as guilty as you feel for craving it, the fear just makes you need those feelings you felt before even more. You're clawing desperately for the euphoria of caring, or of being cared for. Who cares if your hand was forced? You felt it, and it still matters. You remember how you felt watching Chixie perform, bathed in light and righteous anger, and how you drunkenly commiserated with her later when— no, that's not right. That didn't happen, except you still remember how hungover you were the next day. Just when you started making sense of things, the whole fucking world shifts under your feet again. You can't keep up with all this moving real estate in your brain. Ah, yes, all of the resets. Annoying, but necessary. You're just indescribably bad at keeping yourself alive and in one piece, and you weren't quite as adept at befriending aliens to start out with. My intervention was necessary to keep you on the right path. Time and space mean very little to me, but I had to move quickly, and again, repeatedly. Swipe some incriminating note-taking here, befriend an impressionable young upstart there, anger a collar bear, inspire some bandits. You know how it is. You have to throw the temporal spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. I'm sure if you look back, you will be able to see the traces of my deft touch. So a few memories have slipped through the cracks here and there. Timelines tend to collapse in on each other if you aren't careful. Your ability to mentally withstand such an event, and so often, is a testament to my acumen in choosing you for the task. You even almost caught on a few times, which I must say I was not expecting. You almost listened to the silly little girl who likes to dress up in big coats and cause me trouble. And as always, some bystanders end up caught in the crossfire. The one with the shovel, for instance. I doubt his mind will ever be the same. Pity. You sit up straighter and clench your hands in the fists. Over the course of his pompous monologue, you've moved past fear and grief and on to deep, globe-chafing rage. How dare he do this to your mind? To your friends' lives? What was so important that one white orb asshole had to fuck with the destinies of everyone you've grown to care about? There are answers out there and you deserve them, and so you demand them. Adorable. Yikes. You shift on the chaise lounge so as to better hide your famous legs from this creepy round fucker. Oh, calm down. All of you and your adherence to societal expectations and archetypes. Perhaps one day you could just learn to take a compliment. Besides, I was being condescending. So you demand answers. He sighs theatrically. You aren't sure where the noise is coming from? Doesn't have a mouth. How is he even talking? How the fuck does anything work at all? I knew you would, but I find explaining myself incredibly tedious. Suffice it to say, I am a man with many boards and fields of play, and although there are countless ways to move the players around these boards, some are doubtlessly more entertaining than others. You are simply one pawn among many. I won't bore you with the details. Doubtless you are aware of the greater contextual framework of this story. The hell you are! You aren't aware of jack shit! Your head is full of question marks! Oh, of course. How thoughtless of me. See, yet another unfortunate side effect of the limitless conversing with the narratively limited. He taps a thumb and forefinger to his orb. Perhaps it would suit you better to understand gradually. And when I say gradually, please understand that I mean it. You won't be leaving. But yes, I do believe this will clarify some things for you. This way, please. He opens the door and gestures inside. There's a light coming from in there, but it still gives off the vibe of a dark closet door with an unfamiliar bedroom at 3 AM. You're afraid, yeah, but you want to understand even more. You stand up and take a step, conscious of the movement of the muscles in your legs. With the rosy sheen of your friendship hypnosis and whatever the fuck else he did to you gone, the sensation of moving your own body feels heightened, important, yours. There's probably a version of you that would try to turn him down, or that would fight or run or take a nap on the surprisingly comfortable piece of antique furniture. You would consider rushing back to say goodbye to somebody, anybody at least, but you know there isn't time to click through all that bullshit. Those tributaries flicker in your mental periphery, so tangible you can almost see yourself choosing one, but you pull your focus back to your present and look him in the orb. You just have to trust they'll remember you, because the you've become after this journey, after all this friendship and growth and death and time, that you needs to understand. You owe it to your friends, but even more, you owe it to yourself. You found your river, and you're going to see where it leads. So you follow him. Sit here, please. In the interest of expediency, I will leave you to your own devices while I go deal with an expected but entirely unwanted guest. It shouldn't be too hard to parse out the truth on your own. All you need to do is read a brief webcomic. Don't you fucking dare. Okay, so because of how Bandicam works, the recording cut out after that just happened. But I don't... It feels stupid, but I do have to go back and get the other endings. It doesn't feel like I should anymore, but I have to. So, there's going through the normal choices that we chose for this, and then finding out what happens if you say no. So first we're gonna... No. Game over. It just... Okay, so... One of the bad endings is not asking to understand. And the other... Since I wasn't able to show what actually happened because of the recording crashing, at the end of understanding, it goes to the Homestuck website, to the first page of the comic. Which means... I thought that what this was... Okay, I might be right. I might be right that what this was is the game that Friendship... FriendSim... My thoughts were that what FriendSim was they were gathering all the people together who were supposed to be part of the rebellion for Hiveswap Act 2. It sounds like that's what Doc Scratch is actually having him do. But, by having it end like that, that means that this is a prequel... A direct, immediate prequel to Homestuck. Because that means that the guy we're playing as in a FriendSim the entire time is the... Okay. Okay, now we need to answer the question the other way. Yeah, you bet, Chief. Tell her to let you in. That's good to hear. Why don't you come right in then, my dear? I don't want you to see you making any little posts online about how my party was too fucking problematic for you, though. Our daughter sits back and welcomes you into her abode with a grandiose gesture. You're very, very excited for our daughter's party, and you know definitively that you will enjoy absolutely every second of what she has in store for you. She leaves. Once you've stepped in, the toxic kiss. There's a lot more people this time. The first thing that hits you once you're in the door is the music. It's a solid wall of bass that reverberates through your body and down to your bones. The intense dance track is blasted so loud you can hardly hear yourself think. It has to be this loud to drown out all the shouting coming from the living room. As you apprehensively advance, it becomes quickly clear that Lanera's completely out of her element here. She's a bundle of nerves beside you, practically glued to your hip. When you actually step into the living room, she physically attaches herself to your arm. Wow, this is more than I was expecting! You too, it's a scene of absolute chaos. The living room of the house is filled to the brim with rowdy teens dancing rhythmlessly to the pounding music. The furniture has all been knocked over or otherwise out, destroyed, and you can make a pretty good guess of what's filling all the red cups you see in everyone's hands. You're about to tell Lanera that you wouldn't blame her if she wants to dip, but you can't get the words out before you're being flagged down by a jade-blooded boy who's just muscled his way out of the throng of partygoers with a few of his friends in tow. Lanera, you made it! Lanera all but flings herself away from your body and freezes like a scared animal as the troll approaches. From all the commotion and ruckus, he's still remarkably well put together. The vigorous dance huddle doesn't seem to have disturbed his sharp makeup or his impeccably coiffed hair. There's a curious red stain down the front of his white shirt, though. Okay, so in this version, it sounds like he might be an asshole who actually definitely is a vampire. He has a slutty-looking indigo-blooded girl on his right arm and an even sluttier-looking teal-blooded boy on his left, though he shakes them off and waves them away by the time he reaches you and Lanera at the entryway to the room. Hi, Luck. Yeah, I'm here. You watch with amusement as Lanera practically bursts into flame under his gaze, and it only gets worse when he sidles up to give her a startlingly intimate embrace. She squeaks and tries to hug him back, but is too timid to actually touch him with her hands. You can see sweat pouring down her face. After a solid 5 seconds that seems to include Lanx smelling Lanera's hair, he pulls back to smile down at Lanera with a heavy gaze. Lanera's face is bright green and her eyes are bugging out of her skull from how flustered she is. But she's not into it, you don't think? It's hard to tell, but you kinda get the impression he'd be dead by now if she weren't. Either way, it's awkward. Lucky for Lanera, Lanx doesn't notice or doesn't care. He settles into a comfortable, for him, posture with his arm casually around Lanera's waist and turns to you. Oh, who's this? This is my... friend? Yeah! Lanx quirks an eyebrow. You have friends? The question seems to leave Lanera speechless, so Lanx takes the opportunity to look back at you. His eyes rake up and down your body in a way that leaves you feeling distinctly objectified. Oh, aren't you interesting? Is there a reason you look like... that? What a question! He doesn't explain what that is specifically referring to, and given both your alien status and your state of dress, it could mean any number of things. You might take it as an insult if not for the way he licks his lips after he says it. He can't seem to pry his eyes off you. You look at Lanera for a cue, but she's too out of it to give you any sort of intelligible sign. So you just explain how you crash landed on his planet an indeterminate amount of time ago, and you don't really know what you're doing or much of anything about anything. The fact of your appearance could be due either to this or that you're generally a disaster of a being irrespective of your planetary origin. How fascinating. I've never met an alien before. Well, you have, lots of times. In fact, literally everyone and everything here is alien to you. You find your word diarrhea becoming more and more awkward and embarrassing as Lanx's eyes start burning a hole in the center of your chest. There's no need to be so shy. I don't bite until asked. Lanx disconnects himself from Lanera as he rounds on you. It's like he's lost any interest in her existence now that you're in front of him. Lanera looks at you with a completely pathetic expression that readily informs you as to what your response needs to be. You'll be damned if you aren't going to be the best wingman possible, so you definitely ignore Lanx's blatant past and turn the conversation back to Lanera. You ask Lanx how long he and Lanera have known each other. Lanx raises his eyebrows at the question. Well, I suppose since she was chosen for the cloister? Some number of sweeps ago. I don't remember really. It was 2.43 sweeps. Alright, then that many, I guess. Huh, it's a pretty long time, actually. Yeah! Pretty impressive that you managed to go a solid 2.4 of them without saying a single word to me that wasn't circulated to me secondhand from your snide gossiping behind my back. Oh, wow, talk about whiplash. Lanera's eyes get big like saucers. What? What are you... I don't know what you're talking about! The tone of the conversation is totally morphed from fire to ice in an instant, though neither Lanx's expression nor demeanor have changed much. He slips in the knives with all the calm composure of a casual statement. What, are you going to pretend you didn't spend the better part of the past 2.5 weeks complaining about how much I disgusted you? Come now. You do know that everyone is aware you're a nasty little bitch, right, Lanera? I mean, don't take it the wrong way, I really don't mind. I'm hardly in a position to criticize. I was just curious what caused the sudden change of heart after so long decrying my vain and slatternly lifestyle. Have the impending ordeals finally made the little clock start to tick down in that dry, dusty nook of yours? Did you figure I was the only one who might be loose enough to be willing to clean out the cobwebs before you get shipped off to Space Church and never have the chance again? Just wondering. There's a long, excruciating moment where Lanera says nothing. She just stares up at Lanx beside her with a completely shell-shocked expression, but before you can try to pipe up Lanera's defense, she bursts into tears. Oh no. When Lanera suddenly turns and makes a mad dash to run out the door and away from the party, you're torn between running after her and giving this jerk a real piece of your mind. Your mind's made up when you look back at Lanx just in time to catch him rolling his eyes. Hey, you sounds kind of rude, don't you think? Lanx snorts. Me? Rude? Are you perhaps attempting to fuck with me? Clearly you haven't spent much time around this bitter pill if you think that was anything short of precisely what she deserves. You can see you maybe don't have a full enough grasp on Jade Blood Cloister social dynamics to make a definitive judgment on whether or not Linnea deserved to have been so ruinously owned. But she's your friend, and what good are you if you don't stick up for the people you care about? I have no idea what even got her so upset. Like I said, it's not like I really care what she says about me, but you don't get to spend as much time as she does being such a venomous little snake and act surprised when someone calls you out on it. Then why did you invite her, you ask? It seems needlessly cruel of Locke to lead her on under false pretenses if he never intended to be her friend at all. I promise you, I had no such designs. The only reason I even invited her to this thing is that my ex is being a real blood-sucking bitch and no one else wanted to go. I was willing to give her an honest shot, but I've no time for a vicious, slandering nag who can't even admit what she is. I thought it might be interesting to see what that crusty little shrew might be like if you could manage to wrest her bulge free of whatever excruciating knot she's got it tied into, but I guess now we'll never know. Well, this is clearly a conversation you're going to have to Switzerland out of pretty soon. What? You try to explain the historical significance of Switzerland's political neutrality on your home planet? Locke's eyes glaze over like he's listening to you recite a sports almanac of cricket stats. That's nice. Anyway, since I seem to have scared away my date, why don't you stay a little while so I can get to know... You and I can get to know each other a little better. You seem much more interesting than she is anyway. When did Locke get so close to you? Your heart beats a little faster when he smiles at you like that, so poisonous and shamelessly laced with intent. Linnea's definitely not the only one coming off like a snake here. I have less time to waste than most, my dear. Never seen the value in beating around the bush. Well, maybe it'd be socially prudent for you to go after Linnea and make sure she's okay, but it's also not her volume of the FriendSim, so instead of doing that, you're going to stick around and see what this spectacularly briary prima donna is all about. You had your fucking chance to bail out of this shit show, but all that's left to do now is barrel downhill as meteorically as you can manage. Fantastic. Care to dance? Why the fuck not? Link laughs pleasantly and reaches out to take you by the hand. The contact gives you a little thrill despite yourself. He's got nice hands, soft and warm and well taken care of, and you know it's going to be one hell of a ride wherever he's taking you. Come with me. You do. He doesn't lead you straight to the dance floor though. He takes you around the throng of dancing partygoers over to the kitchen of the house first. You weren't expecting to find a familiar face waiting for you there. Hey, fancy meeting you here. You don't find it that surprising, honestly. You two know each other. You could say that. That's just great. Do you give discounts to friends? I sure fucking don't. You know the price, pretty boy, pay up. Huh. You're a little confused. What's being purchased here exactly? Owen gives you a funny look. You a drone? What? Hush. You do as you're told and watch as Lank and Elward carry out their shady transaction. Lank hands over the credits and receives an opaque little baggie of something in return. Oh, well. You guess you don't really need to see what's in the thing to figure out what it is at this point. As soon as the deal is done, Lank has his hand at the small of your back and is definitely guiding you away from the scene of the crime. Is buying drugs a crime here? You aren't really well versed about the laws of Alternia, but it honestly doesn't really seem like anybody would give much of a shit about anybody doing drugs out here. You guess the clandestine transactions are just for the aesthetic. Long's got you back in a shady corner of the party and is pressing one of the tablets he bought into your hand with a sly grin. He expects you to join in. You're like, hold on a minute. Your experience with alien drugs haven't really been that great, honestly, and you're not sure you're that excited for a repeat performance. Long's immediate response is to sneer. Oh, I see. You're one of those people. One of what people? You know, a bit boring, maybe. There are many words that could be used to describe you, but you don't think boring is a remote contender. You're always doing all kinds of unbelievably stupid shit and getting into uncountable, wacky, and life-threatening situations. Is it really that fucking much to ask for there to be one time you don't rush headfirst into doing something you know is gonna fuck you up and be totally awful? Long's lips pressed to a thin, annoyed line. These things aren't cheap, you know. I bought them for you. Well, you didn't ask him to do that, did you? Come on, you're really gonna be like this? Yeah, you totally are. Lank sighs dramatically. Lank, fine. Lank casts around for the nearest victim and grabs his attention with a hand around his wrist. To your dismay, it's your sweet and innocent hot dog chum Diamond! Alas, there's nothing you can do to stop him from falling prey to Lank's wicked designs. Here, have these. Yeah, great! Thanks! I love to put drugs on my wiener. That was just said. What a tragedy! Before you know it, Lank has a hold of you again is dragging you off. Let's just dance. You're not too much of a square to do that, are you? Of course not. Dancing is basically the one thing you actually plan to come here and do, so that's just great. You go along with Lonk enthusiastically when he pulls you over to the writhing mass of bodies bumping and grinding on the dance floor. You get down to it. You discover that Lonk has a very interesting dancing style. And by interesting, you mean it primarily consists of directly grinding his body against yours in an incredibly shameless fashion. But pressed in as you are from all sides by sweaty and inebriated bodies, that there's not exactly much room for troll Gigas to begin with. Lonk is up on you so close it's hard not to sweat. He has his hands at your hips and your face fixed with sharp eyes. His heavy stare is nearly hypnotic, so blatant and undisguised in his expression. It's clear what he wants, and maybe that's more than you're prepared to give, but when he looks at you like that, it's impossible to look away. You just go with it. Why not? It feels good and... Okay, I am hearing weird breathing in my headphones. You're surrounded by trolls, boxed in and pouring sweat, and yet it feels like you're the only two people there. Lonk draws in, teeth by your ear, and this close you can hear him easily even over the overwhelming pound of the bass. You have the palest skin I've ever seen. Yeah, you tell him that you're literally white, which is like blank. That makes you super racially inoffensive, FYI. You let Lonk know he can see you any way he wants, which is even more woke than making a decision. Thin as paper. I can see all the way inside of you. All your veins and your red blood. You smell like candy. I wonder how you taste. Oh wow! That is like some shit a vampire would say. Presuming I'm a rainbow drinker would be an awfully reductive and literal reading of my character. I'm just making a blatant sexual pass. Oh, okay. Good thing that's all cleared up. You take this as an opportunity to really let loose, showing off everything you've got in the sexy little dance acumen department. Lonk is a little bewildered. What are you doing? You're like... What aren't I doing? There's a fire on the dance floor and you struck the match. You're just fucking it up in here. Really getting it. Breaking it down, bopping and crumping or whatever. You're smashing your ass into everyone around you and getting hot and heavy with those lusty moves. There's a point where Lonk has to step back, you presume, to properly behold your art in all its glory, but it soon becomes clear that it's not your prodigious dancing skills that have given him pause. You follow his startled gaze and see the cause for alarm. Bronia's here, and she looks pissed. Oh shit. Bronia's standing in the entryway contending with Ardad, and it looks like she hasn't caught sight of you yet, but Lonk isn't wasting any time. Before you realize what's happening, Lonk has you by the wrist and is hauling you away from the dance floor and off down the hallway. Lonk finds safety in a bedroom, respite block. You remind yourself, and you take stock of the conspicuous absence of any bed and the presence of the revolting-looking slime cocoon in which trolls allegedly spend their repose. You hold each other in a tense and nervous silence pressed against the locked door. What feels like an eternity passes, your breath held. The sound of your blood rushing through your own ears is almost enough to drown out the music. Seconds turn to minutes and nobody comes to find you. It seems for now you escaped Bronia's notice. When you turn your head to look back at Lonk, you find he's been staring at you for some time. I haven't been able to take my eyes off you since the moment I first saw you. You're just so interesting. You freeze like a hare staring down a snake. Lonk lifts his hand to brush a thumb across your cheek, fingers curling under your chin. You meet his eyes, his pupils are so black. I want to know what it'd be like to kiss you. Lonk's tongue darts out to wet his painted lips. Do you want to kiss me? Whoa. Well, you've already clicked on at least 2 mature content disclaimers to get this far. Why the hell not? I only saw one! Lonk leans in and presses his lips against yours. He kisses much more sweetly than he looks. His lips are soft and wet and taste like blackberries. This beats making out with a couple of greasy teens behind a dumpster, that's for sure. When one of his sharp fangs nicks your bottom lip, you don't even notice, or you don't even care. But when a drop of your blood beads out onto his invasive tongue, Lonk draws back just an inch. You taste sharp and dangerous, like a weapon. Is that a good thing? It's not a bad thing. Lonk pulls back further, his hand slips from your cheek and his fingers trail down to your neck to rest on your collar. Thumb brushing against the thrum of your pulse. Have you ever paled before? Lonk shrugs off his jacket and starts unbuttoning his shirt. Whoa! Is this really gonna go there? You're like, well, no, you've never done any alien intercourse with a bucket, but it doesn't look like he even has one on him at the moment. That was apparently the wrong thing to say because Lonk's face scrunches up in displeasure. Don't mock me. It's my first time. You figure laughing will constitute mocking him, so you don't, but the look you give him seems to say enough. Us Jays who live in the cloisters have been chosen for a very special duty. We're expected to adopt a chaste and ascetic life in service to the continuation of our species. And when we undergo our ordeals and are sent off-world, there's no such thing as sneaking out of the caverns. If I don't do this now, when? My life is nearly over. Will you help me feel alive? Before you can answer, Bronny's voice starts to rise shrill above the heavy music. Look! Locke's hand shoots out at lightning speed to draw you close. Before you can so much as gasp, he presses one of his palms over your mouth to keep you quiet. Oh shit, she's close, and from the sound of it, she's getting closer. Locke! I knew you're here! You need to come out and come on right now! Locke leans in close to your ear. Shh. What will you do? I wasn't expecting there to be another question. Or, another, choice. And I don't really know. I don't. We have to see both of them, so let's... You keep your mouth shut and wait for Bronny to pass. She only shouts for a little while longer before the sound of her voice fades away. There are too many blocks in this hive for her to be trying to break down the door to every one, and she didn't look too closely at this one. You've lost her. When it becomes clear Bronny is gone for good, Locke lets his hand fall away from your lips. You feel him smile against your ear. Where were we? You turn in Locke's arms and look up into his blazing eyes. How can you alien pale without a bucket? I don't mind doing it without one. Sometimes it can be fun to get a little messy, don't you think? You're like, weren't you just saying this is your first time? Locke answers with another kiss. This time he means business. Woo! You go all the way with this super slutty alien and then you slump out on the ground completely wasted. Maybe this all went kind of off the rails, but you have to admit it would have been a real shame if you had got through this entire extraterrestrial adventure and never got to smash even a single alien. What would be the fucking point, honestly? This guy really did a whole number on you. Your lines spread eagled on the floor as Locke is putting his clothes back on. Man, this is probably your most accomplished friendship to date. You're not quite ready to move just yet, but since you and Locke are such good chums now, you figure now's as good a time as any to ask for his chitter. Locke seems surprised to even hear you speak. Huh? You want to add me on chitter? Yeah, you say isn't that what friends do? Oh, sorry I can't. My palm husk is broken right now. Locke says while typing away fiercely on his palm husk. He doesn't even look down at you. You're like, but you're using it right now? Locke rolls his eyes. I thought you would take the obvious hint. What obvious hint? Locke huffs. Look, I was trying to be nice, but you just weren't that good, babe. I don't often ring the same bell twice, but if I were going to consider it, you'd have to show me a better performance than that. Whoa. Holy shit. That's that, you guess, your lowest low. Your first time banging an alien and you couldn't even satisfy him. A little seed of worthlessness takes root inside you and germinates so explosively that it fills you up until there's basically nothing left. You die of shame instantly. Shamed to death. Okay, so now we need to go back and call his mom. And he totally deserves it because, dang. Of endings many. I want to have to splice together the hell out of this episode. You bet, Chief! Hot dog drugs. Mom! You rip Lung's hand off your mouth and start yelling for Bronya. What the fuck, dude? Lung tries to scramble away from you to make some sort of last-ditch effort to escape, but it's no use. Bronya hears you and comes running furious. She hulks the locked door off its hinges before you can even get up to let her in. You duck flying chunks of alien architecture and scuttle off to avoid what you fear might be further alien fists. Locke? As angry as her voice is, some of the fury goes out of her face the moment her gaze lands on Locke's state of partial undress. She reflexively brings a hand up to shield her eyes. What in the world? Put your clothes back on this instant, young man! Locke freezes where he stands, apparently accepting that he's been caught. There's nowhere left to run if he doesn't intend to fling himself out a window. A sneer uncoils on his face. Oh, please, save the Purity Act. Like this is anything you haven't already seen a dozen times before. Bronya's face goes a bright jade. What? What in the world are you implying? I would never! Forget Lanera. You've always been the craziest bitch in the whole cloister. You know you aren't actually our Lussus, right? Bronya marches straight up to Locke and slaps him hard across the face. Makes an undignified noise as it recoils from the blow. It looks like that really hurt. Its face is stinging bright under the handprint. He forces out a strained laugh. My word, Bronya. If you wanted to join us, all you had to do was ask. Damn. You wish you had some popcorn right about now. You just gotta sit back and take it all in. Locke's invective has its apparent desired effect. Bronya is all but steaming at this point, hands balled into fists at her sides. You kinda wanted to say hi to your friend, but she's a little preoccupied, it seems. I'm not going to rise to your petty baiting. You know you're in the wrong here. 1, we've spoken time and time again about recklessly sneaking out to these parties, and now you're dragging Lanera into your mess. 2. Linares told me all about the things you've been saying and doing to her, and it is completely unacceptable, Lonk. 3. You had more than enough lectures about the way you treat your flesh quadrant partners, and it absolutely needs to stop. 4. You're coming back with me to the cloisters right now. When we're home, we're going to have one last serious talk about this, and if there aren't changes, there are going to be consequences. Eventually, Brian is overbearing, hollering, seems to finally break Lonk down. He sighs, shoulders slumped, and rolls his eyes. Fine, fine. Brian crosses her arms indignantly as she waits for Lonk to finish fixing his clothes. Lonk buttons his shirt, puts back on his jacket and his tie, and then he has to go retrieve his palm husk, which he seems to have discreetly slid over to where you're standing. He casually saunters his way over, but instead of picking up his own device, snatches yours out of your hand. Hey, I've gotta go, but let me give you my chitter information. Maybe we can pick up where we left off, sweetheart. Brian stomps over to grab Lonk by the ear and drag him away, but not before he's finished putting his chitter contact into your palm husk. He shoves it back to your hand and mouths you a "see you later," and then is fully hauled out of the room. Hypocrite! You need to shut your mouth! And then they're gone. Friendship accomplished, you guess? Cheater mutuals, and he's literally wearing a cape, fishnets, a bra, and nothing else. Okay, no, we already did that. I don't really need you breaking me again, Doc. Okay, so I'm gonna stop the recording real quick so that I have another file instead of more crashing happening. Okay, now we gotta do the other half of Volume 18. I gotta say, if I had known it was gonna be this long, I would have just done 2 episodes instead of this. But what better way to end out the year than a ridiculously long episode of Hiveswap Friendship Simulator? Are y'all clowns? You gotten pretty good at the old friend-making game by now, but even an old hand at palling around like you, a real platonic Lothario, has bad nights sometimes. Tonight was one of those nights. It's getting close to morning and not a new friend in sight. You'd met new people, sure, but none of your conversations had panned out the way you wanted them to. Every interaction had come to a close with your friend count no higher than when you'd started, no matter how many compliments, offers to help, and other tried and true friending strategies you'd whipped out. You won't stand for it! You're determined to finish out the night with at least one more new buddy's name in your little black friendship book. But with the sun's about to arise, you have to admit you're cutting it a little close. I think I just remembered that there's actually another choice in the Do You Want to Know the Truth. I'll have to check that out. Or I can just go into the epilogue, because I think that's what that is. You won't stand for it! You're determined to finish out the night with at least one more new buddy's name in your little black friendship book, but with the sun's about to rise, you have to admit you're cutting it a little close. As each minute ticks by, the sky gets a little lighter, and the possibility of dying an agonizing fiery death gets higher. Maybe it'd be best for you to just pack it in and find somewhere to spend the day. You pick up your trusty palm husk and call up one of your many friends you already have to ask if you can crash. Hell, maybe Skylar will be up for sharing a recuperator raccoon again. The soothing ooze has kind of grown on you, and sleeping next to Skylar always makes you feel comfy and safe. Turns out Skylar is more than down with you coming over. Time to make tracks! You turn tail and hurry in the direction of Skylar's digs, but it's not long until you run into a distraction. What the hell? That distraction is in the form of a house. It's a dark, crooked thing hulking close to the ground. Slatted wood walls, sloping roofs. Vines cling to it like dust, and cobwebs cling to forgotten things in the attic. Something about it feels off. This kinda... It sort of reminds me of the house from the game proper. It possesses a certain energy that sends shivers up your spine, making your hair stand on end. An indistinct deep in your gut is telling you to give it a wide berth. On the other hand, it's shelter. Skylar's place is a way off yet, while the house is right here in front of you. It could be worth seeing if whoever lives here is willing to put up with you for the day. Okay, no fucking way! Yeah, no, that's not happening. Didn't you just establish that this place gives you the heebiest of jeebies? Plus, there's always the chance that the inhabitant will cull instead of help you. You're sticking to your original plan. Thank you very much. Finally, firmly ignoring the house, you continue on your way. You make good progress for a while. Your Maps app says you're heading in the right direction, except... Oh, what the fuck? Why are you here again? Did you take a wrong turn somewhere? Whatever, you're not going to dwell on it. Time is running out, and you need to get away from this stupid house pronto. You'll make sure you do it right. This time you'll go... left. Okay, you split, breaking into a jog. The scenery flicks past you as you pick up the pace, urgency spurring you on now. It's getting even lighter, won't be long now. House! What? You check your palm house again, you're right back where you started, even though just a moment ago the GPS put you at a decent distance away. This is ridiculous! There's obviously something weird going on, but the suns are creeping over the horizon. Time's up. There's nothing else for it. You make your way towards the house, even though everything inside you is screaming at you to stay away. Even though with every step you take, every move you make, I'll be watching you. You take your chest tightens and your hands tremble. By the time you reach the door, you're shaking like a leaf. Adrenaline zings through you. You could choke on it. You want to run, but you force yourself to keep moving forward. It's a slow motion race between you and the sunrise. At this rate, the suns will make it all the way into the sky before you can even knock. You drag yourself the rest of the way, stumbling onto the front step. The door knocker is an intricate yet grotesque thing, an undulating tongue lolling out of a set of sharp teeth, all in cast iron. You grab the lumpy end of the tongue and bang it against the door. Nothing. Fuck. Maybe you'll get lucky and the door will open. Out of options, you reach out and turn the doorknob. You can feel the first licks of the sunlight against the back of your neck. It's just you as your skin starting to blister. But today's your lucky day. The door opens. Are you sure you're lucky? You should feel overjoyed at your life being spared. Instead, your focus is fully on how the roiling in your belly has bloomed fully into nausea. In the distance, inexplicably, is the peal of sirens, an insistent whining noise that only continues to get louder. You shouldn't have come here. But it's not like you had another choice. You might as well see what awaits you inside. But as soon as you cross the threshold, the world lurches and you pass out. You come to in a different room than the foyer, head ringing like someone just whacked it. When you move to sit up, there's the sound of skittering all around you, like hundreds of tiny insects are scurrying away to safety. Have they been roving the floor while you were knocked out? Gross. You prop yourself back up onto your hands and take a look around. Your impromptu nap has done nothing to assuage the deep sense of wrongness you have about this place. But hey, maybe you've managed to sleep through the day. Maybe the sun is set again so you can get the hell out of here. The sense of optimism is misplaced probably, but it's not as if you can check. There are no windows. You cast your eyes around the room. Underneath the floral peeling wallpaper, the walls are riddled with damp and mold. And on the other side of the room, an open door. Thank fuck. You aren't locked in then. You can go look for somewhere else in this place that might have a goddamn window. You step into a long, winding corridor. It's so cramped you feel almost as though the walls are closing in. While it had been warm enough outside, and here a deep chill settles over you, sinking deep into your bones. You're half convinced you'll never be warm again. Emanating from somewhere you can't see is music, tinny and rhythmic. It's soon interrupted by a crackling noise, like someone trying to tune in the correct station of a radio. Then one of the picture frames lights up. Looks like it was actually some sort of TV screen. Welcome. Welcome. We're glad that you're awake, and that you've come to visit us. We've been really bored in this stinky old house. It really sucked. We could have just died for how boring it was. Two voices, one monotonous and so quiet you can barely hear, the other shrill, dramatic like its owner never learned the meaning of the words indoor voice. Catching what the quieter person is saying isn't made any easier by the high-pitched giggling that starts up in the background whenever they start speaking. So hurry up and find us! We want to play a game! Gee, why do you have those words give you such a profound sense of deja vu? But Saul probably. The line goes dead. At the same time, a door pops open at the other end of the corridor. You're meant to go through it, you guess. You'd rather go somewhere else, anywhere else, other than through that door, but there's nowhere else to go. Or is there? Let's look for another exit. No, there has to be something else here. Ignoring the voices' instructions, you examine the walls of the corridor instead. Soon enough, you notice something funny about one of the paintings. Its frame seems much thicker than the others, which strikes you as somehow suspicious. Feeling along the bottom reveals a button. You push it, there's a groaning sound, and a part of the wall folds itself away, revealing a tunnel of some sort. Ha! You knew it. You're so focused on trying to make your escape that you rush through the opening without looking. If you had been more careful, you might have noticed one very important thing. Past this doorway, there's no floor. Your feet meet thin air, sending you pitching downward. Drat, you think, as you plunge towards the pit of knives beneath you. You'd reached a follower milestone on Twitter the other day too, and you hadn't gotten around to bequeathing it to any of your friends in case something like this happened. Your final regretful thoughts are of your account, dusty and abandoned, with no one there to continue to update after you're gone. Game over! Gonna have to make some of the choices the same way to get back to that. Okay, 18. Them. No fucking way. Left. Approach the door. Your wariness only intensifies once you set off down the hall because the walls start fucking bleeding! You've seen enough troll blood at this point to be able to recognize it. Multicolored streams ooze over the wallpaper and faded portraits lining the wall, collecting and congealing in sticky, viscous puddles on the floor. The narrow hallway becomes steeped in the stench of copper. You walk faster, but the streams of blood follow you, sluicing down from the ceiling as quickly as you walk. You reach the door. Eager to get away from the grisly sight, you throw it open, but oh god, you had to consider what might be waiting for you behind it. What if these two shady characters plan to torture you, tie you up, and steal your palm husk, testing embarrassing messages to your friends while you can only look on in horror, helpless and unable to intervene? Anything but that! It's too dark to see anything. All you can do is fumble and feel around with your hands. Getting out of the room again is a no-go. The door swung shut behind you as soon as you stepped inside. You shuffle forward on wobbly legs. The floor feels unstable somehow, like it's going to open up and swallow you at any moment. Would it be a good idea to call out to see if anyone's there? You manage a feeble hello? Your voice echoes. Soft laughter reverberates back in response. You catch a glimpse of something from the corner of your eye, a flash of purple. There's a sensation of eyes on the back of your neck watching you, but you can't discern where the other presence in the room is. If there even is one. You kinda hate this? Of all the shitty welcomes you receive, this one takes the cake. You have to get out of here? You try to gather your panicked thoughts together to formulate a plan, but before you can do anything, a series of ropes appear seemingly from nowhere, coiling tight around you and holding you down. You're finally here. We've been waiting for you! A light comes on. It's not the warm burning rays of sunlight, this room is windowless too, but a spotlight, bright and harsh. It lights up a broad swath of the room, bleaching it white and sending long shadows stretching away from it. You can see your captors more clearly now, two purple blood kids. Aside from their expressions, they look exactly the same. A manic glint sparkles in the eye of one of them, as sharp as his razor blade grin. The other looks more hesitant, almost sad. We're Bisley! And Barzum. You're the alien, ain't ya? You look weird. Your body's real weird! You wonder what color your blood is. Or how springy and slimy your acid tubes are! They squirm around like slitherbees when we slice open trolls' bellies. Are yours the same? You struggle against your bonds. You have no idea what acid tubes are, but you'd much rather they stay inside your body where they belong, thanks? You thought you moved past the days where you had to serve as a torture muppet. All you needed was a few hours shelter from the sun, and if it's safe to go outside again, you'd really like to leave. This is the wrong thing to say, apparently. The twins leer at you disapprovingly, or well, one of them looks so disappointed he might burst into tears, the other just looks pissed. No way! We told you! We've been so bored! Do you know what it's like to be all alone with no one else to play with? For wipes! We might have each other, we're never truly alone. That's what makes being us so great! But it's a little difficult to play pranks on someone who always knows what you're thinking and feeling. Wait, you thought Barzum was the quiet one and Bisley was the loud one, but it looks like they were mistaken? Or did they switch? If you weren't faced with the prospect of having your innards yanked out and played with by bloodthirsty children, you might be more puzzled by their statement. As it stands, you have more pressing problems on your mind right now, so their words more or less fly over your head. You squirm harder, even though it doesn't do any good. In fact, it just seems to make the twins madder. Sadder? You settle on smatter. Stop trying to get away! It's always like this. Nobody ever wants to play with us. We hate it. Now hold still! You look at them beseechingly, trying to appear as small and helpless as possible. Maybe it's a little pathetic giving puppy dog eyes to literal children, but you lost track of your own dignity a long time ago. They're not really going to do this, right? A noise starts up. It sounds suspiciously like a chainsaw. And is it just you, or is there a scent of raw meat in the air? Where the hell is it coming from? You continue straining your bonds, stomach clenching in fear, bile rising at the back of your throat. They're not actually going to hurt you, right? Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. You wake up gasping, but you aren't strapped down anymore. You're in the same room that you were in at the beginning. What happened? The room hasn't changed since you've been gone. There's still only one way out. You really, really don't want to step through the door again, but what else can you do? You step through the door. There's that radio crackling again. Welcome. Welcome. We're glad that you're awake. The little greeting goes on just like it had before, a pre-recorded message maybe? Your heart pounds as you step through the second door. You're hoping that you'll be able to sidestep the ropes this time, but instead of getting tied up, you trip forward to a vat of what feels like glue. You were lucky enough to have your face turned away from the stickiness, so your nose is still above the surface so that you can breathe. For now anyway, but you can't move. You're finally here! We've been waiting for you! You're acting like it's the first time all over again? What is this fuckery? Am I messing with you? You met already mere minutes ago. No, we would have remembered. Meeting a weirdo like you. Stop trying to trick us. Then everything goes black for a third time. And here you are again. Are you for real? This time you get shoved into a box. You're pretty sure you passed out while you're in the middle of getting buried alive. You come to in the room you're beginning to think of as yours yet again. You pass out 5 times. 10? You begin to lose count. You never pass out at the same point during the twin shenanigans, but it inevitably happens and you always end up right back where you started. The worst part is that while your conversation with the twins stays the same, the way they trap you changes. You get trussed upside down from the ceiling, dunked into a water tank, scrabbling to get out while your lungs begin to burn from lack of air. Every time you blacked out before you can die, but you've almost died dozens of times by now, and it's really beginning to stress you out. You have to be stuck in some kind of time loop. You see this sort of thing in movies all the time, and everyone knows that movies are the best points of reference for one's actual life. The hero wakes up to the strains of an old pop song playing on the radio and reminisces over their childhood journals, which sends them back in time where they have to stop a crime before it happens, or maybe you're thinking of a different movie. Anyway, your point is that you have to find a way out of the loop. Hopefully you won't have to do anything too wild like stab your past self and then throw your own bloody corpse out the window. That would really, really blow. Unfortunately, you can't seem to find any clues indicating what you should do next. You always pass out. The twins are always excited to play with / torture you. They don't seem to be aware that any of this is happening from what you can tell. After around 20-something or other, you've had it. Enough is enough. You can't take any more giggling, any more of that hard damp floor, any more excruciating games. You might not be any closer to figuring out what to do, but you have to try something. Remember who you are. There's one thing you've been doing wrong, making this about escape. You've been so preoccupied with not getting sliced to pieces with knives and not everything, you've lost track of what's truly important. The word that echoes in your heart when you rise at dusk and pulses through your bloodstream during the rest of your waking hours until it's time to go to sleep. The word has kicked off every single narrative you've started in thus far. Friendship. You'll do things differently this time. You're going to bring yourself to truly care about these creepy clown children, god damn it! Even if it's the last thing you do. And with the way things are going, it very well could be. Their MO was oddly benign this time, a tickling machine. Unfortunately, it's a little difficult for you to talk to them through all the laughter. What are those noises they're making? I think they're trying to tell us something. Miraculously, the tickling stops. You wheeze, trying to catch your breath, hoping to God you haven't peed. You've managed not to wet yourself out of fear until now. It'd just be the worst to have broke your streak due to laughing too hard. What is it about clowns and divesting your body of waste? After assuring yourself that your underwear is blessedly dry, you ask, if they kill you, won't they just be alone again? How is that beneficial for anyone? They'll be bored and you'll be, dead. Which it would really rather not be. Their creeping saccharine smiles transform into matching expressions of confusion. Barzum puts a finger to her chin, cocking her head to one side as if in deep thought, almost like a puppy. Under any other circumstance, you might even consider it cute. What are you talking about? We don't want to kill you! Maybe just cut you a little. You'll heal right back up again. Don't be such a wiggler. Some of the things they've tried to inflict on you would have definitely taken more than your regular human healing function to recover from, but wait. You think back to Ramele taking a whole-ass club in her side and acting like it was no big? She'd said something about higher blood codes being able to take more of a beating too. Are the twins assuming that's the case for everyone? God, this is what happens when all the adults in a society go off planet and leave a bunch of zoo animals to bring up their kids, or well, trolls able to solve most of their problems by killing each other. You can't discount that either, you suppose. You take a closer look at the twins, there isn't any malice in either of their faces. The only emotion you can discern is idle curiosity. You decide to take that as encouragement. You say that no, you won't heal up from being sliced open, or from an on-fire scuttlebuggy being flung at your head, because you're a human, and humans heal differently from trolls. Well, differently from high-blood trolls, at least. You even use your best babysitter voice for good measure. You feel like you're giving a stern talking to about the importance of taking care of one's toys so that they don't break. Instead, you propose, why don't you be friends? You can all play together instead of you being the subject of their torment. They'll be able to play with you for longer that way, too. They give you a strange look. Friends? What's that? Do people not agree to be their playmates very often? No. Usually everyone runs in the other direction, so we have to catch them, or trick them. That explains a lot. You think you're beginning to understand. If they let you down, you can try and show them what you have in mind. They do. They actually free you. They turn all the lights on in the room too, so you can finally see everything in it. It's bigger than you expected and set up like a circus tent. A wire is suspended along the ceiling. A person-sized target board rotates at dizzying speeds against the back wall. Juggling clubs, knives, scarves, and other props are piled across the floor. You recognize a few of the mechanisms they had inflicted on you before. It's pure chaos. So, what else do they do with all this stuff? They're still staring at you as if they aren't quite sure how to deal with you engaging them with them voluntarily. You're feeling pretty tentative yourself. The whole interaction seems incredibly precarious. You're afraid that if you make a misstep, you'll end up back in the tickling rack again. This isn't ours. We found it when we got here. But it does look a lot like what's in our hive. We can do shows and stunts. All kinds of cool stuff. Fuck, even when they aren't threatening you, the way they talk in chorus like that freaks you out a little. In perfect unison, like they're one voice instead of two. You shake off your fears and suggest that they show you a little something. They seem to like that idea. Excitedly, they scurry over to the target board. One twin stands against it while the other picks up a handful of throwing knives. You're anxious? You don't exactly want them to rough up each other instead of you, but Barzum just throws the knives in a graceful arc. They surround Bisley perfectly, barely missing it. You gasp, your mouth a perfect O. The twins seem pleased with themselves, laughing together like they're sharing a secret. If you think that's impressive, watch this! They execute a sick flip on a pair of trapeze above a bed of swords to make a daring escape from one of the contraptions they trapped you in. They move similarly to how they speak, perfectly in tandem with each other. With the variety of obsessions you've seen among your friends, it figures that it was only a matter of time until you met someone who made a hobby of risking their lives. It's not too out there compared to cage fighting, you suppose, or collecting saucy East Alternian figures. You could have just escaped from the trap we put you in earlier, you know. Why didn't you? You laugh nervously. You haven't exactly had much practice, and maybe it would have been easier if you had someone else to help. You look at the two of them pointedly. You didn't even realize siblings were a thing among trolls, let alone twins. Sibling? What's that? You know, someone you share a lustus with? Someone you hatched with in the same clutch? Are you phrasing that right? We do share a lustus. We share everything. We didn't hatch from the same. We didn't just hatch from the same clutch. We hatched from the same egg. We were going to be a single troll, but we split in two. Just our bodies, though. Our minds are still one. One person, two bodies. We're one and the same. Okay, maybe siblings aren't a thing on Alternia after all. Being literally the same person is quite a bit different from the human concept of twins or siblings. Somehow this leads to them telling you all about a number of exploits they've had with some of the other kids in their neighborhood. One story leads to another, and soon you're recounting some of your own adventures too. They particularly love your attempt at giving an impression of Nikki, clapping and crowning as you get into a dramatic power stance and flex your flimsy muscles. You can't help but feel a little proud of yourself. You feel like the guy on Jurassic Park who walked into the Velociraptor ran all, "Be chill, my dudes," and they actually listened to him. Besides, there's something great about making kids laugh, even kids who were trying to murder you less than an hour ago. The twins are in the middle of talking about a prank they played that they found hilarious, and that you've been trying hard not to grimace in horror at when you feel it. A certain change in the air. Didn't they mention they had been stuck here? Did we? Yes, we have. When we try to go out the door, some sort of force pushes us back. You're the first other person we've seen since we got here. You have a hunch that they might have changed. Why don't you all try again? They look at you skeptically. If you want. It's not going to be any different, though. You just tell them to trust you. You look at the front door. The twins are crowding you from either side, clinging onto your arms and edging so close it's like they're trying to burrow into you. Ready? They nod. You push against the door. It opens and you breathe in the cool evening air. Not so fast! We've gotten this far before, but we won't be able to go any farther. You'll see. You take one step, then another. As you look beyond the grounds of the house, you see things you hadn't when you first got here. Mountains in the distance, other houses. Before all you can see was shrubbery. You pick up the pace, the house falls away behind you, disappearing into the fog. Whoa! You did it! You actually did it! We can finally leave! They swoop in to grab you, hugging you hard. The curving horns of their mask almost stab you in the cheek. Those things are a bit of a hazard when their wearers only come up to about where your chest is. They keep talking before you can get a word in, pulling you forwards and shuffling you along between them. It looks like you were right. It wasn't just enough to save yourself. You had to save them too. You don't know how, but the key to making this little patch of the universe obey the rules of reality was, once more, was friendship all along. Ha ha ha! You should have seen your face. You were shit your gam tubes, terrified! You heave a sigh as their incessant giggling surrounds you like so many playful ghosts. Yes, yes, you say, very clever. They were the ones behind all this nonsense, weren't they? You started guessing somewhere towards the end. You wiggle your hands vaguely. All the time stuff. They sure scared you, alright. No! That wasn't us. We were talking about the bloody walls and creepy sounds. None of that was real. That was all us. That was all chuckle voodoos. We're the best at chuckle voodoos. We got you so good. They both bounce beside you excitedly. You blink down at them. You have no idea what the heck chuckle voodoos are, but you can only guess that it's some sort of illusionary thing. So they didn't have anything to do with time messing up, folding in on itself? No, we told you. We've been trying to get out of that stupid house for wipes. Maybe even a paragraph. Did you really think that was our hive? Our place is so much cooler than that dump. Is it their actual hive? You have your reservations about that, but you can't find it within you to say no as they eagerly pulled you along. One twin tugging at your hand, the other looping an arm in yours. You look back at the house one last time. You have no clue whether the twins are lying or if they're telling the truth. What really caused what happened here, but right now, you're content enough knowing that you'll never have to see this place ever again. No. I'm not 100% sure this even has a bad ending, since the only... Well, no, wait, there is a bad ending. The bad ending is probably don't try to befriend them. So. Boop. No fucking way. Left. Approach the door. Fuck this. There's one thing you've been doing wrong, appealing to the twins to let you go. All they seem to care about is torturing you. Of course, simply asking them for your freedom isn't going to work. You'll do things differently this time. If you want to escape, you'll have to go on the offensive. You wake up again. Disembodied voices, bleeding walls, game, check, check, check. You head towards the twins' room. Stand back, you yell before they can launch into their tirade. You're a weird, scary alien with weird, scary alien superpowers, and you're not afraid to use them. You switch on your phone's torch app, waving it around. You even attempt an intimidating roar for added effect. The only superpowers you're aware of is your irresistible charm instead of truly banging in gams, but they don't need to know that. Your gambit works. They don't cower in fear exactly, but they're bamboozled enough for you to look frantically around the room as much as you can with your paltry light source. There! An air vent with a loose grill! With a desperate yell, you launch yourself up towards it and crawl inside. The twins, finally aware that this is all just an elaborate ruse, start shouting after you. The twins' indignant voices start to fade as you wiggle deeper into the dusty guts of the house. You can't have very long, it's only a matter of time until the diminutive terrors climb into the vents after you. Or maybe they'll run ahead and cut you off via one of the other rooms the vent's connected to. They must know the layout of the house better than you do. Much to your surprise, though, you re-emerge at one of the outside walls with no trouble. It's dusk, not day, for which you mutter a quick thank you to your merciful overlords. From here, it's a simple matter of picking your way down the vines until you get to the bottom. Once your feet touch the ground, you start running. When you cast one last wild glance back over your shoulder, you catch sight of them, your captors who you've successfully hoodwinked. You're standing in the grand front doorway, screaming. You have no idea why they aren't coming after you, but you don't question it, pumping your legs until they're burning. It's a good thing you spent all that time jogging with Stelsa. You've gotten really good at running away from your problems. You stop running once you can't see the house anymore. You're a little surprised that getting away turned out to be that simple, but you know better than to look a gift hoofbeast in the squawk gaper. Relief floods you through you in waves. You did it! You got away! You slow down to a leisurely walking pace, pulling out your phone as you go. You have a slew of texts from Skylar who'd been wondering what happened to you after you never turned up. Her invitation to come over and hang out still stands, though. Oh boy, you can't wait to finally make your way over there and chill with her. You'd never play favorites among your pals, but you have to admit you hold a particular fondness for Skyla. Her whole thing where she always makes sure to not cause you any bodily harm, that definitely has its charms. Keep walking, but after a while your stomach starts to sink. It's been half an hour and your surroundings don't look any different. You should be closer to Skyla's neck of the woods by now. It's not until you catch sight of a weathered wall all wound with ivy that you realize what's going on. It's the house again. You're still stuck. Homestuck. Ha 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 ha! You're not going to be able to leave its grounds no matter how much you walk. You might have escaped the house, but whatever curse or time-space witchcraft this isn't confined within those walls. You're in a pocket dimension of some sort, and you don't know how to break out. So now you can either return to the twins since they're the only company you have out here, or make these bushes your new best friends. You look dolefully out at the miles of scraggly underbrush before you. You had probably best get used to gazing at nothing but this, since it's all you're going to be seeing for a long, long time. Forever lost. Okay. Couple more choices gotta make. Gotta see what happens if I go right instead of left to see if that makes any difference whatsoever. I doubt it will. So. No fucking way. Right. Okay, you split break to a jog. The scenery flicks past getting even lighter. Won't be long now. House. Okay, same thing. Approach. Remember who you are. No, we don't need to understand. And now I just find out what happens when you just go into the house. Fast forward. Approach the house. There's nothing else for it. You gotta make your way towards the house. Everything else inside it, you're screaming. It's okay, yeah, so it's the same thing no matter what you do. How do I get out of here? So now let's go check out the epilogue, because I think there was one other choice I could have made in there, and I'm not 100% sure. Yes, I want to understand. Of course you do. Fast forward, was there a choice? Okay. Okay, there was not a choice, and trying to see if there was a choice dragged me back to the Homestuck website, which once again stopped the recording, so I had to make a new recording just to do my dang outro. So, this has been Anashi Sasuke. This was the final episode of Let's Play Hiveswap Friendship Simulator. If you liked it, a like to subscribe will be groovy. If you didn't, you only do either one of those things. And I will see y'all in the next one. Happy New Year.